Hello everyone, welcome along to the final stint of this year's Le Mans 24, an event put on by TORA every year. Looking forward to seeing how things work out. It's been a close run race throughout the night and probably a few sleepy heads out there in chat right now. Good job to all of you. Happy to be joined today, well this final stint I should say, by my good buddy AMR the Hulk. Hulk, here we go, Le Mans, last stint. You must be pumped.
Hey everybody, how y'all guys doing today? Yeah, I am. This has been an exciting race to watch through the night, starting yesterday, and it has been a lot of fun, and I'm glad to join you in the booth for this last stint and see where this all finishes up.
Cool. We've got to make sure that all our cars are in the GT division. I think they all are just so far. So we've got 2 Astons, 3 Astons. Just going to make sure we're not going to do anything that's going to endanger the race. I've got Aston Martins all the way up and down the line, so we should be good. Do let us know, though, if there's anything we can change in chat in order to get this race going. Perhaps there's something I'm not seeing right here. But it looks like we've got GT cars. Bit of an echo, yeah, cracked windscreen. I think that's going to be a sad fact to this last stream, but that doesn't phase us too badly. Change driver group. Okay, thank you, Scottson. Thank you, Scottson. So if we change our driver groups to GT, no handicap. Just make sure that we're all in those nice blue driver groups. Boop, boop, boop. Alright guys, so it's been a long old race. We've got a decent battle going on, I think, for the win out here. That's between the team with Diablo on top. I've lost my rankings in front of me. Let me get those up in front, you know. We've still got a sort of a live battle, I think, for the lead of this race, especially in GT. LMP1 a little bit less, perhaps, but we'll get that sorted. Here we go, Hulk. So the guys are heading out on their warm-up laps right now. It's a long old track here at Le Mans. The trick on these laps, I guess, is been to get yourself acclimatized to the track, but in general, what's ended up happening is just keeping yourself out of an incident can be the best thing you can do with the cars so close together like this. It's easy to bump into each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it through the night as well, and through the end of yesterday, these cars started running really close, especially in the GT division. They're running a lot closer this year than we'd seen before. And these packs are finishing within 200 feet of each other at times. And it's made for some epic finishes, but it's made for some very tense moments on the track as well. We were very excited to see it as spectators. And as teams, you're kind of gritting your teeth a little bit going, good grief, they're really right on top of each other. So we really want that to continue in this final stint. Let's see some incredible racing to get to the finish. And GT Le Mans, this is where it's at right now. LMPs, as far as we can say about that, I mean, Scottson on the track. Everybody's got to watch out.
That's right. We're sitting on board right now with Scottson, the man of the moment, trying to bring home that car that Europa's been absolutely rinsing around in. I think the race is live now as we head on down the second half of the Mulsanne Straight. Scottson just tucking into the draft of TLR Law. You can see Diablo up there in the lead of the race, so all clean more or less for the top 3 in the LMP1 division. Looking back to the GT class, trying to at least. Things are heating up. Going to hop on board with RZM Servi. They've had a decent run, have the RZM team. I'm going to hop away right now, actually. Let's stay on board while Scottson gets up the inside of TLR Law. Heads down toward the Mulsanne hairpin. It's going to make this one just about work, it looks like, around the outside. That's a dip on the gravel, slowed down. Unlucky there for Europa, losing a whole bunch of positions.
Yeah, saw that. That was a little wide on Scottson, but it still came together. They went through that 3 wide. That's impressive. So But we did have an LMP car get a little sideways right there, so have to keep an eye on him and see how he battles back.
Well, looking back to the GT division, we're on board right now with Servi, who's running, I believe, second in class. That's actually incorrect. So first in class is going to be Mitch. No, that's right. So second in class is Servi. This Tinker is going to play tricks with me all day long. The car's out of order compared to how they are on track. Servi second in class, third in class. The guy we're on board with right now is JSR South. South's had some great races so far in the Le Mans 24. And, I feel as though you may have had an influence on that paint, Hulk.
Oh, I just a small one, just a small one. But yeah, he's really driven the colors off of it this time. South has been an amazing addition to the team, and as far as for the Le Mans race goes, and he's really bringing it home right here, coming in with the last stint. And we're excited to see how he finishes up with the car. But yes, thank you very much. I did have a little influence on that car.
Well, South, of course, running alongside AMR Cheetah, AMR Lawrence, got AMR Aqua, and Lucky 7 in there as well. So that's why the team's called AMR and a spare. As of the end of stint number 9, I believe they were running in 4th position in class. Perhaps they lag out, influencing some of their results there. Class leaders, I believe, remain SVR Purple, so that's Williams Mitch up in the lead, joined alongside Roadrunner, Solar, and Martin, the latter two, of course, from the SVR team. Hopping back to the LMP1 division, we can see a change or a fight for the lead, at least here, as TLR Law gets right into the rear of Diablo. Diablo, Hulk, looking a little bit scared there, having to do some defending.
Well, I mean, yeah, with you got those two guys backing up right behind you, Diablo, everybody knows him as a confident front runner, and I think that he'll be fine. Yeah, he'll settle in, takes him a couple laps to really get his groove on. But if he stays in that position, it's going to be real tough for Law and for Scottson to get around him. But once they are, man, it's going to be really tough for Diablo to keep up.
Well, Diablo with a little mistake there, slipping back down to third just after one corner. Up ahead, Law and Scottson go side by side down toward the Michelin chicane. Law holds the inside. Diablo with the tap, pushing Scottson round. Absolutely opportunistic stuff, though, from LSEM. The Pigeon makes up 2 positions at Michelin, past Diablo and past Scottson. So all change at the front, and TLR Law getting away, smelling of roses.
That's it. Mr. Law right there. Let's just go with that. He really took advantage of that, man. He stretched it up a little bit, so now everybody's chasing Law. This is interesting.
Pack behind, just shuffling around, drafting a little bit. Scottson, I'm sure, will be a little bit ruffled by that. On just the second lap of this race, there's a long way to go. Approximately an hour and 44 minutes until the end of this race. I suspect it's just a little bit less than that. And Scottson, well, there you go, moving up into second, this time with Diablo a little bit further behind, and perhaps making it work this time. Scottson now pushing for the lead. Diablo, though, Hulk, looking a little bit ropey there. You don't expect that kind of thing from Diablo in every race.
No, I think it's that. We've seen his stint so far, and he's had a little bit of issue keeping that car on the corners. He has a little wiggle that nobody else seems to, well, that the front runners aren't seeming to have, and it catches him from time to time. And that's, I think, what we saw coming into the chicane there. He had a little bit of a wiggle, just kind of rode in with the crowd, and Scottson took the brunt of it. But he will be fine. Like I said, a couple of laps in, his tires warm up, he gets pretty happy, and he finds his spot on the track.
Now it's with that 1 hour 35 mark or so. The cars will be pulling over shortly after that timer runs out, as we see the Butler getting caught up there with the real fun for us. 2 drivers who have been in the walls, in and out of the walls throughout this competition. Fun for us running with the SSR Silver team, and Butler. Who's Butler on board with? That'll be one of the many LSEM teams out there racing. I believe he's with Here we go. Team Demolition, I think, is where we're at. So many LSEM drivers out in TORA at the moment, Hulk.
They are. They've
don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, they've definitely upped their presence. Yeah, we've seen LSEM in several tour events now with several cars. So exciting stuff from them coming in and starting to put drivers in positions to take some podiums and really try to get that name out across the esports community. So we're excited to see that, but at the same time, once you start having one too many cars on the track, well, then you find yourself bumping and grinding into each other. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true enough. It's been a rough old event in some ways for the LSEM team. I believe both their GT teams dropping out of the top 16 at least, so out of the running for the lead. You know, happy to be proven wrong on that one, but I think as of the end of stint 9, which is where I'm taking a lot of my data from, LSEM looking like they're not in with a chance anymore. We're back now though with JSR South in the fight for the lead of the GT Eads class. That's Servi up ahead for RZM, and beyond him, Williams Mitch. I gotta say, Hulk, Servi has impressed Curvy.
I believe it's
I don't know, one of the two. All right, let's go Servi. All right.
Yeah, let's go Servi.
He's really impressed me. He's done so well this in this race, racing against the likes of South, the likes of Mitch, and making it look easy.
Yeah, he's really toned down his racing style in a mob. He's compacted the way that he actually fights with racers. There was a time when Servi would really run and take aggressive maneuvers, but we've seen, at least in Le Mans, he has taken a general approach to this race, and he's not doing super aggressive overtakes. He's keeping his car consistent on the track. He's running a beautiful line, and that has allowed him to really step up and be a part of this podium chase. And that has to speak volumes for Rise's team. And they have got to love what he's doing on the track for them right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they can't believe it. It's been awesome watching them progress. Somebody who we haven't been watching progress, who's been, I think, dominant in these kinds of cars for a long time, is Scott Sin. We're back on board with the LMP1 second place sitter. Scott Sin running for the elusive team, elusive Peugeot Sport PlayStation. A catchy title if you ever heard one. And TLR Law. Yeah, that's right. It's one to chew on a little bit. A name that you can really get the bouquet of as you get it out. But he's caught right up to the leader now. Elusive, looking like they might be making a move here on the Tech Life Racing crew in this last stint.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting coming into or out of the chicanes here. We're going to see that small stint run to the first straight chicane, and I believe Scottson, if he has the run, which he looks like he's getting on right now, will take the top overall position.
Here we go, that run down the Mulsanne Straight that Hulk's talking about. Awesome little section of the track and a good place to overtake. Going to be heavy on the brakes as you run into the Forza chicane. Bit of a lock up there from Law, who misses the apex by a mite. Could give Scottson a run coming out of the chicane here. We may see a few extra MPH for the Peugeot. Not as much as I thought it might be, but that's a chance for Scottson for sure as we run down towards Michelin. This could be the end of TLR's dream here in the final stint, and very much the favourites in the elusive squad retaking the lead after being so dominant throughout the competition. Scottson, there it is. Beautiful move.
There it is. Yep, Scottson, he was just waiting for his opportunity, and it presented itself. That little lockup right there hurt Law and on the first chicane, and Scottson just took advantage of it. He had the run coming out, and Michelin, is that what you were calling the Michelin Straight there?
Yeah, second chicane,
yeah, he definitely had the run going out of the Michelin chicane. So now we're seeing a regular view of Le Mans that we've seen for the past 22 hours, and that's Scottson's ESV team running in front.
Yeah, true that, man. They've done a great performance. Europa, Harmonic, and Scott Sin really representing well out there. We're sitting on board right now, though, with somebody who's had a little bit more of a challenging 12th stint. That's LZR Diablo, getting it wrong, throwing the car sideways in the run down towards Indianapolis, and now in Arnage, he's going to find himself 5-6 car lengths behind LSE and Pigeon. Diablo looking, dare I say, rough as old boots here in the final stint. He's probably done about 18 hours of driving around this track in the last 24 hours, so I'll get told off for being critical of him, but looking a little bit off of his form, Diablo here in this final stint. Hulk, what do you reckon that Diablo could do about something like that to get himself feeling a bit better, feeling like he's going to be able to put laps back in?
It seems like his car is very unsettled right now. Just watching him go around the track, take these corners, little handbrakes involved. It almost looks like at times to get the car rotated. It's got to be a little bit unnerving for him. So he just needs to. He's got some free air right now. He's got room in front and behind, and he just needs to breathe. Take these corners the way he knows how to take them, and put his time down on the track. He will be fine. He just needs to concentrate on what he's doing and settle in, because right now his car is looking awfully unsettled.
Dang, man, I need you to talk me through these races. I need a Hulk on my pit wall to calm me down as I'm going through these laps. JSR South we've just hopped on board with, still fighting for that, well, second place on the podium. They've all three got podium positions here in this battle in the GTE class. Mitch remains a little bit elusive out there in the lead, perhaps mirroring the LMP1 leading team. But RZM, Servi, and JSR South now beginning to look like they're getting involved with each other. The run now down towards that complex of corners that results in Arnage may give South an opportunity here to get a move on, to get that car side by side. Not quite yet. Very patient driving here from South. It's been the flavor of his drive, I think, all the way through the LM24. Not rushing anything, and knowing that these races, they're long ones. So some nice strategy, I think, playing out here from JSR South.
Yeah, and what I really love about this shot is you've got Rise, you've got South, and they can both still see Mitch. And as long as you can see Mitch, you still got a chance of overtaking him. And Mitch is a fast driver. Mitch is a world-class RC driver. Props to Mitch for all that he's accomplished. But if you can see him, you can still catch him. And right now, everybody's in the screen. And that is exciting racing. Like you said, patient racing, because it is a long race, but it's exciting racing.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like the opposite of, like how kids are like, if I can't see it, it isn't there. With Mitch, it's if you can't see him, then he's gone. He's
yeah, Mitch is gone.
You got to keep him in your sights. So the LMP1 race is still raging on. We're going to kind of keep flipping between these two, just to monitor the two of them. Diablo fighting out with Pigeon right now as they head through Arnage. We were just chatting about South going through that corner, so of course the first lap overtake between the LMP1 cars and the GTE cars isn't too far away. You can see that on the mini-map just in the bottom of the corner there, bottom left corner of the screen. For now, though, Diablo remains a little bit far behind Pigeon as he fights to make his way back up the field in this race.
Yeah, I see that. And again, we're watching Kirby. Sorry. We're watching him, and we're not watching Servi. We're watching Diablo.
It's all right. I'm jumping all over the place.
And his car is still looking a little unsettled. You can see it every time he comes to a turn. He's really having to reach at the end of the turn coming out of the apex. And I think that's throwing him off his game a little bit because he's so used to driving those cars that will turn when he wants him to. And this car, with all its horsepower and all its torque, will definitely get away from you if you're not careful. So we're either seeing the result of him running a very torquey car at this moment and the tune just not fitting his driving style, or maybe he's got a little bit of a controller issue. I want to hand it up one way or the other, but this is an interesting development, and I think we're going to see him get on up past Pigeon here in the next few turns. But it's exciting. I really want to give Diablo a benefit of the doubt here, and that car will settle down. So.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it does for him. I think, there's maybe a little bit of Diablo here running with a largely an SFM team. He's got teammates in Darkser, Ace Captain Slow, Dr. Beck out here for the 24, and perhaps just a little bit, maybe the car's setup is a little bit tuned towards what those guys are into, what those guys like, rather than his own thing. We're going to hop back again, though. Sorry, moving around all over this track. But the battle for second place in GTE is heating up. And we've got South looking around the outside of Kirby as they run down the second straight, that long kink straight. And Kirby backs out of it and says, you know what, South, that's all yours. So South managing to pull a bit of an intimidation move there on Kirby, who gets the hell out of the way. Must have the best paint on track. That must be the problem.
Oh, I know. See, I mean, it's just like a water tide running right beside you. You got to give way to the water, right? No, the surfing livery was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was something very different, and we wanted it to be different on the track. So again, it was a lot of fun to make that paint, and again, South is just driving the paint right off the car. It is an intense battle between him and Rise right now. Giving up back and forth. I think we're going to see this throughout the entire race the way that it's kind of working right now. They're going to battle back and forth and give up easy positions and then take easy positions when they can get them. Because they both know right now it's just all about putting the miles down. And they're close together in the standings for that third, fourth position. So, yeah, they're just going to race each other and put miles down, and we'll see what happens towards the end here. Somebody's going to have to make some kind of move to get away.
Ooh, no, as that Servi just psyching out on South a little bit there, running into the pit lane. Too late on the brakes, tap the wall, and we won't see the disadvantage of that until South comes around later on, until South makes his pit stop, but that will have massively disadvantaged Servi. Very unlucky there for the driver who... I've been praising too much this weekend, perhaps. I don't think too much is ever possible. Doing a great job out there for RZM. Has been doing a fantastic job for Rise, as you say. Yeah, so sad to see.
That's unfortunate. You know, it's that's going to put him a little bit back when he comes back onto the track. But it's a long race. A lot can happen. Servi, get back out there, run that race that you've been running. Put that one behind you.
There you go. Let's get on board with this battle for, is it second place in this race? I want to say, as we get on board with Law, who's sliding that Audi through the first sector. I don't know that Law's the person we want to be on board with right now. I'm just trying to have a look for a fight in LMP1. It's always fun to watch them as they go through the traffic and battle with each other. Perhaps LSEM Pigeon here is in the wars. Sadly not. Where should we go?
Well, let's see how the hind end of LMP is doing.
Let's do that. All right, let's hop on board with, we've got LSEM Pigeon. Let's get on board with him. 6th place running right now. LSEM's team up here in Lobby A. Pigeon's running for the LSEM Team Lights Out Now lineup. So not the same lineup as the Butler, of course, who's on track at the same time. They're running strong, actually, running in top 4, running top 5 in this competition at the moment. A final good stint would see them with a fantastic finish, so perhaps Pigeon hoping for something slightly better than 6th here, which might be a little bit of a dire way to end the 24 hours. Might need to push on a little bit throughout the next hour and 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, here's a driver that can get aggressive. This is his opportunity to really tack on a few extra miles that the other guys don't need. So he can push as hard as he wants, really take some chances on getting into some battles and getting beyond the battles, because he needs every mile he can get. and LSEM can really put up a good face with a decent drive from Pigeon today.
Well, next up the road from Pigeon is his LSEM teammate, but not teammate today, the Butler, running in the green Peugeot and just passing through the GTE field here. To be fair, a strong run here from Butler past the GTEs might see him making up some very, very valuable time on the cars ahead as Butler gets caught up with the Viper there in the GTE class. Perhaps hoping to just get a little bit of extra time as he ran through the pack. They may see him penalised later on. It's difficult, Hulk, when you're trying to take a much, much faster car around and navigate your way past these GTEs. It's so easy, in a sense, to get bumped or be the bumper.
Yeah, especially on some of these tight corners. And with the LMP cars bringing so much speed into those corners, they really have to play it smart to get their passes in on these GT cars, and that just did not look great. So, hopefully the Viper's okay, can continue on strong and catch back up. But yeah, you got to find your spots. There's a lot of straight lines that you can get by these GT cars here, and sometimes it's better just to hold off on the curves, hold off on those 90s than it is to try to force one in.
Yeah, too right. Trying to find the Viper and get on board with them just now. Believe it's being driven by. I was going to say it was Drifting Hero, but it's not, is it? I'm looking around for the orange Viper. We've seen it out in Lobby A throughout the day. Here we go. SVR's the team. It's with look up the team here that are running the Viper. Here we go. Yeah, so SVR orange. Great. I looked at the whole table to find out what this, what it was called. I was like, it's going to be the team name. I'll do the whole thing. SVR orange. All right, cool. Whatever, guys.
Props to Solar for keeping the name simple for us, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Thanks, Solar. Yeah. I'll just call them SVR orange from now. SVR purple, SVR green. Yeah, it's been a decent run from those guys, running around top 6 right now in class. So hopefully they can bring this home. All right, they're out of sync right now in terms of pit stops. You can see them running quite high up in class. In fact, I think 3rd in class or even 2nd. Yeah, 3rd in class. That will all change once the pit stops have shuffled out. Another driver who's not pit yet is going to be Williams Mitch, who has been running very, very long first stints throughout the whole of this competition, meaning we really don't watch him very much because he tends to get out of the action and just hot lap throughout the whole event. But Mitch, running well out there, and he's run a good 24-hour event so far, looking good for the GTE win.
Yeah, Mitch, he's so consistent when he has space, and you could just, you could time a turkey dinner on him. He's just that consistent. You know exactly when he's ready to go, and he's pulled it out. He's gotten some space running front there, and he's just gonna hot lap this to the end. So good job, Mitch. Way to jump out front. Really can't knock his driving style. Once the man gets away, he's just gone. But yeah, his pitch strategy is an interesting pitch strategy. We've seen it a couple of times already. He pulls front and he gets quite a bit of distance. He likes to pull 2,000, 3,000 feet or so before he decides he wants to pit, and then he jumps back into the fray. So it's an interesting pitch strategy. It's a long pitch strategy, but so far it's worked out brilliantly.
Yeah, it's been a great run from the whole team as well. Mitch, of course, teamed up with Solar, Roadrunner, and Martin. So a kind of mix of Williams and SVR in the aptly named SVR Purple team. There you go. Thanks for that, guys.
Couldn't imagine.
Yeah, right. Don't know why. I don't know what that's a reference to, but I guess purple's someone's favorite color. Mitch doing a great job. in this competition, and it's been a pleasure to watch him drive, as well as the rest of the guys who actually I didn't get a chance to see out there on track, but I'm sure did top banana out there as well. Mitch stays out. He's going to keep running that first stint, but we're not going to keep watching him. Let's see if we can get on board with some action here in the final stint of the 2019 TORA 24 Hours of Le Mans. And we're hopping back right now to the LMP1 division, on board with the Butler, repping the slightly faster in stint 12 LSEM team, but actually the slower LSEM team on the overall leaderboard. So something to prove perhaps for the Butler here as he goes in that bright green Peugeot up toward the Forza chicane and catches the two guys up ahead.
Yeah, I like that livery actually. I haven't seen that one yet, so it's good to see that one. But yeah, Butler, I mean, just coming off that major event at Le Mans. So he's kind of getting reacclimated back to sitting around and driving at his own Xbox. And it's been an interesting ride for this particular LSEM team, but they couldn't have a stronger driver finishing it out for him. I think Butler will do just fine. He's going to put down the miles with a chance to have some face and maybe a podium spot in this final stint.
Yeah, I was pleased as punch for Butler to make his way to France and get to compete in at the track itself. A few drivers who competed at Le Mans Esports. I'm always surprised to see them here, because they must have practiced this track to death over the last few weeks. I'm sure be quite burnt out with Le Mans by the end of it, but I spoke actually to Sal Bazoom about just this earlier on, and I was saying, how come you're even out there racing, dude? I mean, you must be so tired of going around Cirque de la Sarthe. And he was like, you know what? If there's good racing going, if there's a chance to go wheel to wheel with someone, I'll be there. I'll give it a try. I'll give it a go. So you got to appreciate that. You got to appreciate that these guys are out there for good racing, if not the novelty of racing at Le Mans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would have been an amazing experience, and props to everybody that got to go and enjoy that experience. But yeah, you're back home now. You're running Le Mans again. So a lot of times you'll sit there and you've spent so much preparation time on this track that you've over prepared. And now You're just like, I can run this in my sleep, and yeah, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And we've seen that with a couple of teams just having small mistakes that potentially have shown that their over preparedness or just too much time on the track, let's put it that way, preparing for a 24-hour event has caught the better of them.
So I was seeing in chat that there's only a very small gap right now between the RZM team and the AMR and a spare team. So M3 by Curvylicious Feet RZM is the car we're sitting on board here right now with Servi. The team that they're racing in real terms with is going to be JSR South, in fact, who's repping the AMR squad here in the final stint. So where are we looking here? So these two are close on track. In fact, just up the road from Kirby is South himself. I'm not quite sure how it took me that long to work that out, but with only 1,000 feet or so between these two drivers in the actual overall leaderboard, what we're seeing on track, and this is quite uncommon for the 24 Hours of Le Mans on Forza, what we're seeing on track is actually more or less what's happening in the race itself. So hopefully Servi here can stay in touch with South and keep RZM in this fight.
Yeah, now what I'm interested to see real quick, if we can, is we watched Servi go into the pits and have his little his moment with the tire wall, but did South pit? Because he should have pulled a full lap almost out, or at least half a lap, getting around while Servi was in the pits, and here we go seeing them again. So it must have been South has pit now.
100%, yeah. I mean, I completely agree with that. Again, good point. The pit stops finally coming back into sync in this battle for what is likely to be third place in the GTE standings. Second place in GTE, and I may be corrected on this later on, is the AMS team. So AMS, Alien Motorsport, I believe running in Lobby B, so not in the lobby that we're watching and spectating right now, but Ken Patchy, Taylor, Beast Shadow, and Custom Dips doing a fantastic job overnight to bring that team up and into contention, especially when some of the favourites like the JSR Jota team had some bad luck in the night. So AMS Evil, as the team is known, sitting there in a ghostly second position. We can't see them on track, but they are there.
Ooh, that's an interesting ad. I had not seen that update yet. So yeah, congratulations to AMS for pulling a great night stint, because towards 11 p.m. U.S. time, as of yesterday, it was SVR, Jota, and AMR with Rise closely behind. So the nights definitely proved to be a chore for a lot of teams, it seems, and that's exciting. Good job.
Yeah, we always get the fair share of disconnects here at Le Mans. Hopefully none in the 12th stint. That's the final closing moments of this race, and you just pray that all the cars at very least get to finish the stint and not disconnect at this point, as we see Butler getting it a little bit wide there in the run through the final chicane, the Ford chicane, and pushing up towards Dunlop and beginning his next lap now. It was close there for a second for Butler, and the cars up ahead. That's real fun for us. I'm sure he'll close that gap again.
Yeah, he'll get right back on there. He's doing a great job, and yeah, you're gonna have that. I mean, 2 hours stint, you're gonna have a moment where you go, oops. So that was his oops moment. Yeah. Don't have another.
That was it. That's it. You get one. All right, so checking in on the race order as we run through toward the hour remaining mark, just a few minutes short of it. We've got the race lead right now is occupied by ESV Scottsin. Second place is Diablo. Third, Real Fun for us, with the Butler in fourth, followed by Pigeon. We've got TLR Law and AMS Chum making up the numbers there in the LMP1 class. Not LMP anything, GTE class. It's led by Williams Mitch, followed by Rich Knight 2F1. JSR South's in third, and Kirby Servi in fourth. Keep in mind that South and Servi have pit, whereas Rich and Williams Mitch have not, I believe. SVR Brada is back there in fifth in class, followed by Drift and Hero, Turismo 83, Snyder, and we've got Marshmallow, Entice, Outlawed TJ in 18th in the final position in this lobby. So it's been an interesting race so far. Seeing ESV Scottsin work his way through the field early on, he's now pulling away quite happily in lead, and let's hop on board with him. And looking as dominant, I think, as Forza Europa was looking just last time out. Good run so far from Scottsin.
Yeah, it's his favorite car. It's his favorite track, and he's just having fun with it right now. He had a little fun at the beginning, a little nice rivalry trying to get through the pack, but once he got through, we all kind of saw what was going to happen, and now he's just kind of taking it at his leisure and running away with looks to be a potential win here at Le Mans.
Absolutely brilliant. Just checking in here with Rich Knight 2F1, running second place last time we saw him, but jumping in and then out of the pits. He's going to be fourth in class in the beautiful Ferrari 458. I can't help myself, but get on board with that car from time to time. You know what, Hulk? I think you should paint like 100% more Ferraris. Ferraris, they're great to paint.
Yeah, you know they are, and the laser scans on the GT models are actually pretty nice and easy to work with. So yeah, good job there. That is a pretty car, I do gotta say. Whoever did the paint on that car did a great job, and they should get a shout out in the comments section here to let that painter know that Hulk approves.
Hulk approves. We've got a whole load of LMP1 cars throwing it into the pits here at the, well, 1 hour, 5 minute mark remaining. 2 mandatory pit stops for LMP1 cars, 3 mandatory pit stops for GT cars. So we're not seeing a lot of strategy really playing out here. It's more just these different drivers and teams going through the motions and making sure that they're all well within the rule set. So Scottson making his first stop, worth noting, but not race changing. Let's get back on board with the GT cars though, because I think at the same time that Rich made his stop, I think Williams' Mitch also made a pit stop. So let's get in and see how the leader in GTE is faring after the stop. Still running first, but that gap very much diminished. You can see it on the mini-map there on the bottom left. Back to, is it JSR South in second, is that right?
It looks like. Yes. Yes, yeah, he should have moved up to second with Rich going into the pits and Mitch staying out. So yeah, that would be JSR South in second, followed up by Servi in the third position. So yeah.
Beaut. So it's Mitch doing a good job so far through this race. We'll be singing his praises a lot more, I suspect, as we get toward the closing moments of it, and looking a lot more at the aptly named SVR Purple runner. For now though, let's check in with JSR South. I mean, we just mentioned him running in second, and for my money, perhaps closing up the gap a little bit toward Williams Mitch up ahead. South in really a close run battle with the car behind him, more than the car ahead, with Servi from the Rise Motorsport team and representing the M3 by Servilicious Feet RZM team here at Le Mans. He needs to catch up to South if they want to bring home that third place and that last place on the podium here at the event. So South, well, engaging Hulk power, getting angry, and disappearing.
I see that. Yeah, what I like about this is, as much as the battle is for the third, fourth spot in the final standings, it looks like South has a little bit of a chip to go grab Mitch and reel him in and maybe take a win away from Mitch here. And if he keeps racing at the pace that he's racing, at some point Mitch is going to pit, right? I mean, he's got to pit. So that will give South some upfront running room and a chance to just shine. And that could be potentially dangerous for the Rise team if South gets out and has a lot of free air. But then again, it could also spark Servi into jumping into the same battle that South is in with Mitch in his mind. So that is going to play out pretty nicely.
Well, if you're not sitting up in your chair and salivating a little bit at the prospect of South taking on Mitch here at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, then I don't know what to tell you. Hopping back, though, with the GTE class, as that battle develops, we're going to hop on board with a battle which is more a prospect for right now. That's the SVR Orange SRT Viper. It's running through the beginning of the lap right now and closing up the gap to SVR Bradders and Turismo 83 up ahead. It is, I suppose, the battle for 12th overall that we're seeing here. Drifting Heroes sort of in touch with these three who are sitting behind.
Yeah, this is quite the little collection of cars, and we're going to see all four of these guys fighting for pride. And there ain't nothing better than racing right now than fighting for pride, especially in the 24-hour event, because everybody wants to be better at the end. So go Team Orange. Let's see what happens here coming up against your rivals and teammates. And first chicane here ought to tell a story.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see how these guys get along. Go on.
Yeah, just jumping in real quick on that Ferrari. The paint was done by LSEM Rizla, who's a new addition to the LSEM team. Fantastic paint, Rizla. I just wanted to give you a shout out on air.
Absolutely awesome. Love the all the paints that these teams put together and the colourful track that we get. It doesn't happen by itself. It takes effort from people to get these races looking as good as they look. So always highly appreciated. And it's great to have your expertise on the commentary desk today, Hulk, to be able to call it out as well.
Yeah, that's my spot.
I sort of grunt at paints, yeah.
A lot of people do. I mean, it's just a different aspect of the game. It's such a time-consuming part of it. And you know, these cars, we want a lot of guys will sit there and say, I don't care what the car looks like, but yeah, when you're on stream and you're in front of everybody, it's great to have a good-looking car taking a win and fighting for position. So I'll shout out to anything, you know, anybody that has the time to sit down and really make these cars works of art and put the times into making logos and so forth. So yeah, great job for the painters to be on display here, because the drivers, you know, they're putting in the 24 hours worth of running, but at least we had a small part in it.
You know, one day I'd love to see, really to have it so that the cars can kind of, after the race, be in the same condition they finished the race at forevermore, if you know what I mean. So you can, you see like the race-worn Ford GT Le Mans gets put up in a museum somewhere with Le Mans dirt all over it. I'd love it if we could have that in Forza as well. Have the cars sitting inside of your garage all covered in cool dirt to remember where you raced them in.
That's it, yeah. Just kind of set it to the side. It'll be an alternate garage. This car finished
That's
here,
right.
and that's what it looked like.
Forevermore.
That's
We're never
it.
going to touch it again.
That's it.
Do not
yeah.
clean.
Retired. Bury it with the bricks.
Hopping on with Turismo 83. Turismo's done a good job here, splitting the pack. We dropped on board with this battle for 12th, and all four cars all the way back to SVR Orange looked like they had a decent chance of this, as Turismo gets so late. They get so late on the brakes for that run into the pit lane. Always completely convinced they're going to put it into the wall. Turismo just psyching out there, imagining to get into the pit lane and depriving us of a nice battle.
Oh, that pit lane. That is got to be maybe the second most brutal pit lane I've ever seen.
Right.
You know, Le Mans makes the race has more straights in it than the pit lane does, and that's just an odd coincidence.
Get on board here with race leader, who's coming round to do the second round of lapping on the GTE pack. This is the ESV Scottson, of course, up the road. Rich 92F1 running 4th place in his class currently, as the pit stops begin to shuffle through again for GTE. And up the road you can see on the mini-map 3 more GTE cars up there, and still waiting to pit. There's of course Williams Mitch in the lead of his class, followed by JSR South, and then is that Kirby? It is RZM Kirby. So all 3 of those cars involved in the podium battle here in GTE, staying late on their second stint.
Yeah, this is I think we're going to see this continue throughout the entire final stint. Those 3 cars are going to be locked into a battle that is consistent, and we're just going to see miles racked up out of those 3 cars, and it's going to be fun. They've broken away from the pack a little bit, and they're just going to be up front, going for the podium at this point. So it's just that's going to be a battle that we want to keep coming back to. It may not be the most exciting battle until they start getting a little bit closer, or until Mitch actually pits.
Right.
Yeah, this is right now they're really grandstanding and showing what they can do on the track. Those guys are amazing.
Absolutely awesome. There you go. Scottson safely on past RZM Servi, and up the road and away he goes toward the 2 race leaders. We've had at least in the stints that I've watched, we've had a pretty good time with the 2 classes not getting too entangled with each other out there on track. It does happen occasionally that you'll see some bumps between the LMP1s and the GTEs, but nothing too decisive this time around, which is always good to see. The battle in the sort of second half of GT of the LMP1, class, actually heating up a little bit here. We've got Diablo just in front of LSEM the Butler, running 3rd and 4th in class, and these 2 heading on past Servi, so you can see they're a little bit behind Scottson, but this run for second, this battle for second in class is pretty close.
Yeah, I like this. See, now it does seem, I'm watching Diablo here right in front, and he has, looks like, gotten a little bit more of a handle on these turns. He's not as left right as he was earlier. Ooh, really. And so that could prove to be a dangerous situation for the other LMP drivers if he gets into his groove. But with them running up on the GT cars now, they should just hang back a little bit and give some breathing room. That's going to be an interesting battle going down forward if Diablo is truly settled into the car. Butler will keep him pinned into running the race right, but right now it looks like the roles have shifted, and maybe Butler's getting a little bit groggy or sleepy or complacent in that car, so needs to wake up a little bit and stay on Diablo if he wants a chance at it.
Well, just up ahead, the class leader in GTE, Williams Mitch, and the purple Aston Martin will be quickly passed, I suspect, by Butler as they run through Tete Rouge. There it is. And Butler continues on his merry way. I was almost a little bit nervous about that pass in particular. We saw Butler earlier on getting into the side of SVR Orange. I believe that was Drifting Hero. I could be wrong there. And clipping them at the Arnage corner. So Mitch perhaps with a little bit of butt clench as he looked back and saw who was in his mirrors.
That may have been the only moment in this race that Rich said, let me let up off the gas just a little bit and let him go by.
That's right, yeah. This is what I built that gap for. This is exactly what that gap's for. Absolutely right. Let's see where we can find a fight here, though. Drifting Hero and SVR Bradders, I think, still pretty close in that fight that we were monitoring in GTE, but things really spread out a little bit here in stint number 12, and you can't blame the drivers. Everyone's had a long old race already. They've had quite enough Le Mans as things stand. A little bit of a moment off there up ahead from SFM Drifting Heroes, slipping off the track on the run up towards Tete Rouge. It's a little tricky bit of the circuit that at the end of the first sector, Hulk. You dip your outside tyres on the grass there, it just pulls you off the track. There's so little you can do about it.
Yeah, that grass. Here's where we get to say thank you to Forza and everything that they do for these games in Turn 10 and the way that they master it, because they have literally built the worst grass ever.
It sounds like an achievement. I'm not sure if we still got old Hulk play in the chat. He's still with us, Hulk? Maybe a drop out there, or perhaps on mute. We'll chill out and wait for him to come back though any second. For now, we'll continue to run around Le Mans. Just 51 minutes remaining in this long race, and it's been a good run so far from everyone. It's good to see, frankly. Just bring the thing home at this point, and don't think too much about it. Have we got a Hulk back in there? I think I can hear one.
Yeah, that was not fun.
There he is. There you go. Oh,
yeah,
came and went. Yeah, it's the fun of these internet connections, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, and when you just have your controller sitting there, you do need to remember to tap the button every. So.
I've done that so many times. I wouldn't worry about that one.
Oh man. Well, there you go. There's my one oops.
Yeah, you're good. Let's get on board right now with SVR Orange. I want to get on board with this guy. It's been a good run. Is this Snyder? Is that the driver? I think it is. And he's right in the mix here. 4 cars up ahead, but 2 different battles. One battle for the 15th position, and a battle up the road slightly for 13th position. Keep in mind that the complexity of the different classes out there on track today has confused the ticker somewhat. Nonetheless, just exercise some common sense while you look at the different numbers out there, which sometimes can be a little bit out of sync.
Yeah, for sure. Those there you go. But this is I like this coming into the end of the track here. Nice pile up of cars. lots of opportunity for somebody to make a great move, or the opposite, somebody to make one that didn't work out too well for them. So this will be real nice to watch right here at the end.
Yeah, we've got a Snyder catching up, closing up that gap, a little bit of a lock up the road from him. Marshmallow, I don't believe the person who's been a bit hard on the brakes. I think that's actually Drifting Hero, who's just getting a little bit pokey on his left pedal, his left foot, as he runs down towards the two chicanes.
That was an excellent sequence right there. Those guys really held that together. Good job.
It's tough racing in these tight packs, and you've got to give the drivers credit for it. There's obviously bumps and scratches all over the front and rear bumpers of these cars. People have gotten into each other a little bit, as you can here on Forza Motorsport 7, but nonetheless, so many cars sticking together and fighting well, and they have been for 24 hours. And there it is, the move from Bradders up the inside at Tete Rouge. We're getting on board as he runs down the straight now towards the Forza chicane. Turismo 83 though, a little bit more top end in the Porsche, and the Corvette having to settle not just for losing the position, but losing another from Drifting Hero.
No, that was a great take by Drifting Hero. Way to come around and make that move. He was so, the vet was so caught up with Turismo 83 that Drifting Hero had every opportunity to go. Now, this is going to be tough going into this turn here. Let's see what happens. There's a lot of lockup.
Wow, yeah, tidy run there actually from
still lucky.
We're on board with SVR Bradders. That was sweet really from Bradders. Managed to outclass the other two drivers, both of whom locked up a little bit, got sketchy on their lines, and managed to keep himself in that fight. The Porsches have more acceleration, but the Corvette, I think, has it at the end of the straights.
It does, and that makes it really intense, because we're coming up into the second chicane, and all three of those drivers have an opportunity to pass. And see, right there, side by side. That's the kind of racing you want to see. Clean, running, excellent.
Awesome stuff. We're still on this battle for 12th in class as we head down towards Mulsanne Corner. Cars all around each other here. It's unbelievable racing, to be honest, and I'm very impressed that all five of these cars are still on track. Five-way battle for 12th position overall as we run down now toward Indianapolis. It's one of those battles where you're kind of sitting there thinking this is going to end in tears. I just don't know when or who it's going to be who loses out.
Yeah, this is a tense battle. It's fun to watch on screen here. But I don't know that I'd want to be a part of it, because I'd be the guy that actually locked that brake up and said, oops. But these guys are doing a great job keeping it together. Doing a great job. Makes for fun watching.
Turismo up the inside, and there it is, the move for the lead, and Bradders wants it too. Now we're 3 wide in the run up toward the Porsche curbs. This Porsche being run by Marshmallow, doing a good job to get himself into a decent lane there. All 5 cars though scrapping like crazy and looking for a little bit of space, just any space that they can find. As we head into the long right-hander, Turismo 83 up the inside, gets the position from Marshmallow, psychs him out on the apex, and Bradders sees the gap. Now these 3 fighting away, giving a little bit of a moment to the car in the lead there, getting away and managing to form a little bit of a gap as Snyder gets it wrong as well. Here we go, this whole thing beginning to unravel now, Hulk, as these drivers maybe get a little bit exhausted and start making some mistakes.
Oh yeah, they were running so tight for so long, and you knew there was going to be a moment, and now we're seeing all kinds of touches and all kinds of lockups running around. So they ought to, it's close to that wall. They ought to really kind of give themselves some room here. We'll see who gives first, but it's looking like it's not going to end very well for at least one part.
Too right. On board here with Marshmallow, and Snyder's find his way through on the Porsche, so SVR Orange up 1 position here. and good for them. It's been, we were talking about it earlier, perhaps a little bit of a tough run in stint number 12 for that car, and starting to look like they're going to be able to salvage something for themselves and from this race and from this stint, which is maybe a little bit better than what they were looking at previously. SVR Bradders is up the road now, fighting out with Drift and Hero, and this battle finally beginning to relax.
Yeah, just a little bit. It just took a little bit of time for them to sort themselves out. But it does look like they're going to run in a clean group, start racking up some miles, and really put it down on this track. But that was a fun moment. I mean, 5 cars, 4 wide at one point in a 24-hour endurance race. You just don't see that. That's incredible racing and good racecraft.
What I will say is, although the ticker is occasionally telling us something different, ESV Scottson does maintain the lead of this race. TLR Law is sitting in second with Diablo in third. You know, I've got 2 Xboxes in front of me. I think one of them is the ticker, which is absolutely fine, as Diablo gets it very wrong through Tete Rouge. Lost the rear there. That's exactly what you were talking about, Hulk. It was just just stepped out of it in mid-corner. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he runs that car, and it just seems so unsettled. And that's
gone.
No, yeah, he's done.
That's a shame to see. Final stint. Yeah, bring it in. See if you can get that thing into the pit lane. Let's get the damage up. I think there will be some. There you go. The whole rear of the car has disappeared on him, and every time he's getting up to speed, that rear left suspension is buckling underneath the aero and making that car slide all over the place. So, yeah, sad to see for Diablo, and a frustrating way to end the race for himself and for the rest of the team he's running alongside. We'll, I'm sure, see Diablo out in later endurance events, though. Always a staple, always a great guy to see out racing.
Yeah, man. You hate to see that, and you know, Diablo's run so well in these TORA events. He's widely known as a guy that runs well. This car it wasn't there for him in this stint. He may have run it well earlier, but it just got away from him. It was a little cheeky and wanting to turn, and it almost looked like it was sim twitching to a point. It was a real tough race. It's going to be a real tough, lap for him right now. You can just hope that he stays, close to the side, and nobody's going to be around him until he can get his car fixed and get back out on track and just run for pride.
That's too right. Let's flip over to LSCM, the Butler, a driver who's been working his way through this field pretty steadily throughout the race. I will say there's a tiny piece of me that does wonder whether or not that took a bump, or maybe a lag bump on the rear of LZR Diablo. I wonder if we could be looking at the culprit on screen right here. Not to throw any wild accusations around, just simply because he's from Australia and the connections can be very difficult. We did see some bumping around in the first stint, but the rear of that car did not damage itself, and didn't damage itself with the spin at Tete Rouge. Certainly, that was a spin on the rear that was caused by damage that was already there. So we'll have to wait and see how that story unfolds, probably after the race. For now, let's hop forward to the race leader, somebody who's having a good day out there on the track, becoming increasingly rare for everyone, but someone is, and it's ESV Scottson. I mean, we've said a little bit already, Hulk, about what a cracking drive it's been from Scottson, but that's really compounded by the amount of pressure that he carries with him from his teammates, who expect so much of him, and he's delivering it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in that top position and everybody knows what you can do and everybody's seen you do it before, it's expected. And that does carry its weight in a race, especially an endurance race, because not only is it expected, but it's expected over a prolonged period of time, lap after lap after lap after lap. When you're racing in lobbies, you get 5, 10, in an endurance event, maybe 12 laps. But these 24-hour events, Scottson's run 4, 5 stints, it's 10 hours. Getting that, getting that consistency and those runs and the lap times that he's been putting up, that is just a true testament to how well he knows this car, how well he knows this track, and his teammates should just be thrilled that he's been able to prove again where he sits with these high class cars. And that's not taking anything away from his teammates. Europa did an amazing job running his car as well. He was right there in the qualifying, and they've really put it together for this race. I do not know who the third teammate is. I apologize about that, but yeah, right now just watching ESV Scottson run this car. This is what he formed this team to do. Right now, they're just doing it.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, that kind of idea of like, oh, you're running for 5 stints or whatever, 10 hours around this track. It's a little bit like beer and playing bar pool. 2 beers and you're better at bar pool than you've ever been in your life. So you have 3 and you can't hit the ball anymore. Can't hit the white ball anymore, let alone anything else. So,
there it is.
Yeah, it's all about that sweet moment, and Scottson is well past it now. He's just lapping and just putting them in and doing a great job. He's actually just passed the battle that I want to jump on board with, and that's in the GTE category. That's SFM Drifting Hero, who we're sitting on board with right now, chasing down SVR Bradders. Drifting Hero is kind of he's being reluctant to make the move here, and it's interesting to see. He always has the run, always has the push out of the corners, perhaps the vet with a little bit more top end once it's accelerated, but Drifting Hero I feel like could force the issue here, but just isn't.
Yeah, he's playing a very reserved game right now. It seems like he's more either conserving fuel for a later push, or just trying to keep the pressure. He also may just be sticking behind Bradders because the LMPs seem to be running rampant through there right now. But he's playing a very conservative game, and I'm interested to see how that's going to work out for him when he decides to make his move. If Bradders is going to allow him to make a move or not, especially with him being right up on the bumper of Bradders. That's how you do it.
So that big 11 being left by the Porsche there as he pushes out of the final chicane. It's so easy to do these kinds of little mistakes that you wouldn't normally make, where you're kind of just getting a little bit of extra power onto the rear wheels and things like that. It's the stuff that you would never do if you were just playing Forza for an hour or two, but when you've been playing it for 24 hours straight as a team,
yeah, exactly.
It's very, very easy to make these kind of mistakes. And there you go, there's another one right there, just dipping the wheel wide again. I think we saw this exact mistake earlier on from Drifting Hero, and he's back out there on the grass on the outside of the of Tete Rouge. So unlucky for Drifting Hero, but looking like he's got the pace to overtake 12th, if not the consistency.
Yeah, that grass, I was talking about that earlier. I believe it kind of stalled out. But that grass is the meanest grass in Forza, right there, that patch. So it definitely loves to see cars, and when they come by, it hugs and it kisses and it drags you into that wall. So dipping a couple tires right there, probably not the most advisable race strategy. So you gotta stay away from the grass.
Well, with 36 minutes of the race to go, it's going to hop over very quickly and give you a report that LZR Diablo has been in and out the pits and run a full lap since then. So no more damage for Diablo, who's back on track and doing his best to get this race back into his control. MS Chum currently in the way, carrying damage of his own by the looks of it, as Diablo makes short work of him. But we can get back on board here with that battle between the Porsche and the Corvette. Sitting here with Drifting Hero, who's still breathing down the neck of SVR Bradders.
Yeah, is he pushing him?
I feel like he is. I feel like he's bump drafting.
Yeah, is he bump drafting? We've seen this a couple of times between two teams through the night, that there was some interesting bump drafting going on to the point where people were calling it out in the comment section. Don't know. It's one of those moments where, like you were saying earlier, could he have made his move and made it stick, or was it something that the two teams had worked out before and we just didn't know. But again, at least he's out from behind the SVR car now, and they're going to make it a little bit of a race. Well, he was. But yeah, we're kind of baffled by what is going on with the bump draft between.
Yeah, Drifting Hero and Bradders, yeah. These two, well, Bradders, Drifting Hero, I should say, starting to make it look like he wants to make that move stick, and there it is, the run down towards Porsche curbs. The right-hander up ahead will be the first corner Drifting Hero takes in the lead of this little battle, with Bradders slipping just behind. I've got a feeling that these two are maybe dialing back the aggression that they're putting into this fight a little bit in order just to get as much distance covered here as they possibly can. It's a long old race, and I'm trying to. Honestly, I've been sort of scouring the little table I've got in front of me of teams and drivers and trying to work out if these two are close to each other on the overall board. My suspicion, Hulk, is that they're not, and ultimately that means that they're just kind of trying to help each other out around this track rather than really fight.
Yeah, and that that's noble. That's great. That's what you want to see between teams that are running for pride. And kudos to that. If you can make friends on the track and it benefits both teams to move forward and get as many miles as you can in, great. You found a running mate and you just kind of roll on with it. It's just good sportsmanship. And you don't. Sometimes in today's Forza community, you can go one way or the other, and these guys look like they're choosing to do it the right way.
There you go. It can go both ways. Of course, they're a big old community here on Forza, and a bunch of buddies for the most part, which is always nice. It's always nice to have these big community events, and it's kind of one of the things that these events show so nicely. Brad is sitting behind right now, and he'll be assuming the bump draft, I think, on Drifting Hero for a lap or two. We're going to have a little look around and see if we can find another battle. I can report that the LMP1 class is very much dispersed. The closest two on there is the battle between LZR Diablo and AMS Chum, but those two really not close enough to really be called fighting yet. They're just sort of nearby each other. Closest on track, I think, are we can see Drifting Hero and Bradders. Those are the guys we're on board with right now. Just behind them, though, Snyder and Turismo 86. This is a battle just behind the one that we've been sitting on board with for a short while now. Are not too far apart, not worlds apart at least. And you can see just up the road there, that is Turismo 86, excuse me, just in front of Snyder.
Yeah, this is it looks like everybody has kind of found their rhythm, their groove. They've spread out now. We're a good portion into the final stint here, and it's clicked in people's minds. We just need miles. The fights were fun. Yeah. The battles were great, but I'll give up 200, 300 feet just to put up as many miles as I can to finish the race out. So, that's what you want in an endurance event. That seems to make the most sense, even though we as viewers, we want every time that a corner's coming up, we want there to be a battle. It keeps it tense for us, and the anticipation is just brimming over. But right now, the drivers are all playing it as smart as they can. It looks like everybody's trying to just rack up miles, finish an endurance event, and call it the 24-hour.
Well, the real fun for us, pitting from second place in LMP1. Up ahead of him, you can see the leader, class leader in GTE, is also taken to the pit lane. Williams Mitch in for his second stop, and I believe this is the second stop also for the real fun for us. So this is the run to the line then for the real fun for us. The final stop of this team's 24 Hours of Le Mans. And a great job they've done too throughout it. A few other cars, I believe, in the pit lane as well. Could be wrong there, as we just see them heading on past the Dunlop curve and turn number 1. Mitch gets away cleanly, and real fun for us on the road just behind him. So, well, it's a nice moment, I think, that last pit stop, Hulk. It's taken a lot of time to get there, but finally, the bright red Audi is going to run toward the finish line now.
Yeah, this is that's what we wanted to see. You know, they're going to finish up, and once he gets past Mitch here on these curves, yeah, there it is right there. You know, he'll have breathing room to get out and just stretch his legs, and again, we'll see cars start assuming the position of finishing up and running out their miles, but. It's such an intense race from the GT side. The LMP side has been a lot of fun to see these guys speeding around the track and passing through these GT cars. Sometimes not so great, sometimes brilliantly. But the
Yeah.
GT battles have been so furious in this particular Le Mans, and that's going to be something that we remember and something we take away from this is just how well raced the GT class did. Not taking anything away from the LMP cars, but boy, those GT cars really put it down.
No, I quite agree. I quite agree. The GT pack has been pretty fierce this time round. This competition, it's not been an easy one to win, and hard fought all the way through. Just now we're on board with LSEM the Butler. For fifth place in class, I should say. Fifth place overall and in class in LMP1, and chasing down the driver we were just on board with, the real fun for us. I'm assuming that the Butler is on the same pit synchron. Is there a word there? Synchronization? Is that that's the word? I got there eventually. I'm assuming these two have had the same amount of pit stops, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't need to use all that many syllables to do it. And this race is alive. For now, the Butler's chasing down fun for us for. But I mean, we've seen brilliant speed from the Butler, but maybe a little bit of a lack of consistency as well out there today. Difficult one. Maybe he can snatch something here in the closing moments of the race.
Yeah, I think he'll be definitely putting the challenge on for the position in front of him. Yeah, he's had a few moments where he's let the car just wash around, and he's run a little bit wide. But in the end, Butler, he straight line speed, and then the ability to turn in on those corners. Man, he has moments of brilliance, and then we get to see those, and then some moments where you just want to go, oh, come on, Butler, you had that.
Come on, dude.
So,
yeah,
you had that. Yeah, just sneak it in. But yeah, we ought to see a good run for the finish for position here. And he just needs to catch up just a little bit more. But I think you're right. Same pit synchronization. How about I go with that one? It's a little bit different.
All right, there you go.
And so they should be a lot of fun to watch for the next 25 minutes or so, finishing it up.
There's a few other drivers who I'm going to guess done with their pit stops. One of them is LZR Diablo. It's been a tumultuous final stint for Diablo, and really harkens back. It gets so close to the rear of Rich 92 F1 there. A lot of faith in the Ferrari driver to give him some space, and he did give him some in the end. Diablo had a moment in stint number 1 where I think he got lag bumped off the track in sector 1. And here we are in the final stint. Diablo back behind the wheel of the Audi, being run with Dark's ace Captain Slow and Dr. Beck, and finding himself getting bumped, I suspect, again. So Diablo may have a low opinion right now of Forza's network code.
Well, I mean, what do you do? Sometimes you just don't have the best luck, and when you're getting in with these packs of drivers and your anticipation level is as high as theirs is, then mistakes happen, and sometimes it seems like they happen more to you than they happen to anybody else. And he just needs to understand that he may not have a high opinion of it right now, but it happened. Wasn't his race quite this time. He's still a great racer. Everybody knows him. Everybody's going to be, slapping him on the back saying, hey, you got it next time. But, no reason to get all ruffled in feathers about it. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, true enough. What are you going to do? What can you do about it? I hear you. There's nothing to be done. Diablo, he's raced enough events to know that, I suspect, and He'll be able to pick himself up and keep himself going. There is a fight here. Well, I want to say a brewing. I can't quite see it starting up just yet. In the GTE division, it's a fight towards the back of the field that we've been sort of on and off with between Snyder, Marshmallow, Drifting Hero, and Bradders. Currently, the closest pair of cars there are Bradders, who we're sitting on board with, and up the road from him. Is that right? Are we on board with Bradders or are we on board with Snyder here? I may have this all mixed up in my head. We're on board with Bradders. We're looking up the road toward Drifting Hero. That's right. Sorry, my ticker on this Xbox, the ticker is just all over the shop. What can you do?
Well, the ticker I'm watching has people about 50 million miles apart. So
there you go. All right, perfect. That's it. We got we're sort of dealing with it right now. We're getting there. I gotta say, man, like, you know, we've chatted a bit about Diablo. I'm not gonna sit here and watch his whole race or anything, but like, he looks so rough out there. That car is the rear of the car is twitching on him. It looks like he's like accidentally chosen sim steering. But I know for a fact that he would have wanted to have run sim. Maybe it's just being tired and being fatigued at the end of the event. But really, that car looking like it's going to step out on him all the time in this final stint.
Yeah, see, when he was having his issues at the beginning of the race, a lot of times as a driver, you hit that pit lane, and if you're having that much, control loss on the car, or at least trying to rein it in, switch back and forth between that swim or the sim steering and the normal steering, just so you can kind of breathe life back into it. But I completely agree. I mean, the car looks like it's on full sim steer mode right now, and it's just not reacting to his controller. Maybe his battery's down. Maybe he's lost vibration in his controller. Because when you lose that vibration in your controller, your whole race changes. You're used to having that little bit run there, and it just kills your run. I don't think he's a wheel guy, so as far as I know, he's on a controller. It could be a multitude of things. We won't know till after the race what was really going on. But yeah, he just doesn't look comfortable in that car. And when you're not comfortable in the car, man, it makes for a long stint.
I mean, that's a great point about maybe the vibration not working, or maybe some kind of setting being off like that. I think that seems so likely in a lot of ways. It's because I'm so used to seeing Diablo as this very smooth, very unflappable driver, and really looking ropey out there today. The opposite story, though, is the case for this guy right here, Williams Mitch, leader of the GTE division, and with 20 minutes to go, looking like he's going to be able to bring a team win home at the 24 Hours of Le Mans for SVR Purple. We should take a minute here, Hulk, and talk about what that would mean for the SVR team, their name and their drivers. Solar, of course, on the team alongside the two Williams drivers of Roadrunner and Mitch, but also his teammate SVR Martin. The four of them bringing home this result, and SVR really still quite a new team in Forza, find themselves winning potentially a massive event in the community.
Yeah, that's definitely a what do you want to call it? It's definitely a trophy that you want to have. It's something in your wheelhouse that you're going to be proud of. There's back and forth talk, throughout anybody's ideas of this being a true SVR team, but I think it speaks to how Solar runs this thing. If he can draft drivers like Williams and Roadrunner, or Mitch and Roadrunner, to come on and do an endurance event with them, that speaks volumes to the SVR mentality that they can run these high-profile races with high-profile drivers, and there's no team boundaries that need to be crossed. Think about that one way or the other, however you wish to do so, but it does speak volumes for what he did as far as putting this team together. And right now, you've got to be happy with the result. I mean, you got to be. If you're Solar right now, I'm grinning from ear to ear, because you're fixing to pull a win at the 24-hour of Le Mans. And that is a great, great achievement. And like you said, for a young team, a lot of guys aspire to be on the podium. A lot of guys want to, just have a good showing. But they're putting teams together that, have every potential to win. And SVR, you can say what you want in the Forza community. You can go one way or the other, but right now you just cannot knock the success that they're having on the track today.
So what you're telling me is that SVR are going to buy out Williams, the F1 team, and
oh sure, yeah. So,
Right.
Solar's got deep pockets, right? Deep pockets.
Yeah, that's right. I think he does. I think he's got all that streaming, man.
I don't know that
money.
Williams, if they're watching right now, would appreciate that. But hey, why not?
You gotta put the dagger in a little bit. You're just gonna see what happens. Let's look forward to the LMP1 crew. We're on board here with Butler. We've spent a lot of time with him this stint, and that's because he's been one of the few drivers who's remained in the battles for us in a race that's has really been spread out. So for once not SVR, LSEM, the Butler, currently chasing down that third in class. It's currently being held by the Real Fun for Us 4 as a gamer tag.
Ooh. Man, he put up a lot of ground right there. That was nice. Again, I think it looks like Butler's kind of brought his consistency level back. He's pulled in some footage off of the lead car there, and what is that? The Real Fun. Yeah, the Real Fun. And he could be looking to make a move at the late part of this race, really try to get that podium spot back. So, fingers crossed that he can hold his lines and do well, but also, the Real Fun. Let's make it interesting. Let's make him work for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. The real Fun for Us running the SSR silver car just up the road, and for now. We'll continue to sit in that top 5, top 6 kind of position. It's been a decent 24 hours for them, and hopefully will remain that way. Just 20 minutes to go, 17 minutes to go. So the word that I'm not going to say right now is lag out. I don't want to think about it. Not at this point.
Don't jinx that. What did you do? Why are you do that? Oh yeah, no, that's not how you want to finish a race. So, everybody, internet, stay strong.
That's right. That's it. Exactly. Here we go then. The Real Fun for Us. That's why I couldn't see him. I've been looking around trying to get the right camera on this. It's because my ticker's saying he's one place and the screen's saying he's somewhere completely different. The Butler deep into the Dunlop chicane though, and losing all that ground that he's made up. Real Fun for Us will have to take to the outside of the track to find his way back past and into that third position in class. And Butler back off the podium. Step down, Butler. You're not on the podium yet. And that little incident as he moved on by, tried to overtake the GT car, was all that Real Fun for Us needed to get back into third. Tough moment, but yeah, there you are. That's Le Mans for you.
Yep, and it's my fault. I jinxed him. I was talking about him reining in his consistency, and he just had to prove me wrong. That was not a good corner at all. If I was the GT car, I would actually probably have needed pants change at that point with both those LMP cars flying around me. So, thank God it didn't go worse. But at the same time, that not much good you can say about that corner. But come on, Butler, rein it in.
That's it. We can still do this. First time we've seen Butler really put something convincing on in the car in front. He's been sitting in fourth, looking forward up the road all this time. This closing moment of the race, and Butler beginning to look like he's hungry for it, like he's got intention to make this pass. And we're going to sit on board with him now in the run down toward Mulsanne corner. SSR Marshmallow just up ahead there, and whipping on by already in the mirrors of these two LMP1 cars, really moving at a hell of a pace as we get down toward Mulsanne corner. Real Fun for Us is deep, and that is going to be a move that Butler tries to punish as Real Fun moves out to the right-hand lane, gets right up into the Butler's grill, who pushes on by on the outside of that straight. making it look easy for now. But these two fighting this close and moving through traffic, that's really the challenge that is so unique here at Le Mans, and both of them are rising to it.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where you're just going, okay, what's going to happen on the next corner? Okay, what's going to happen on the next corner? Because they're both just chomping at the bit to get here. This is fun racing to watch. You know, keep it consistent, keep it on the track, but fun racing to watch.
It's been great to see how balanced the Peugeot and the Audi have been as well. It's always a big one of the many question marks that you have coming into these events when there's new cars to see how they square up to each other. But you know, we've seen constantly throughout the day, we've seen different makes of car and different builds find themselves very, very close on track with each other. The Butler, of course, repping the closed top Peugeot, and the Audi being repped just behind by Real Fun for Us. It's a great event and put on so well each year by TORA, and they deserve a huge pat on the back for how well they've done this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well organized, this event, as far as how it goes. There's been, you have your moments where there's inconsistencies in starts and so forth like that, but as far as being able to rein in 200 plus drivers, 60 plus teams, and make this happen, I mean, kudos, good job, props, everything you can be thrown at, you know. Spin the fire circus wheel and watch it go up in flames. This is great. So, you know, I really like that they, the way that it has all kind of settled out. And, you know, you kind of expect there to be technical difficulties with as many far-reaching places these drivers are coming from, where we're commentating from, and how you're bringing all those places together into one spot. But this has been, you know, for lack of a better word, run pretty amazingly. Goes to TORA. Great job running this, and whew, coming to a close here. We're seeing we're down under the last 15 minutes. One of the things that we should look at is just kind of run through the field, see how everybody's doing. But these battles and the way that these cars are taking each other on and showing a level of respect on the track, you know, that's what you want to see. Good job, and great sportsmanship.
Absolutely right. The battle we're on board with here is just about to come past and lap RZM Servi, a driver who we've chatted about a little bit as we have a little bit of a brown pants moment as the LMP1 car gets into his draft. The Servi has been running well this race, but perhaps not well enough. The RZM Rise team have been running very, very close and pushing a very long and hard-fought race up against AMR and Despair. That's JSR South's team here in the final race. South needed, I think, to gap the Rise competitor by some 1,000 feet, and it looks as though he's going to manage that. Let's actually hop on board with South and we can get a little bit of a read for the distance between these two. There's South up ahead, coming out of Arnage currently, while Servi is way back, just leaving Indianapolis. So a fair amount of distance appearing between these two cars, and maybe enough to see AMR sneaking up the order here in the finishing order.
Yeah, and that's such a good race. You know, to be in there with Rise and back and forth. We will see how this looks in the final standings. But right now, you know, Servi's doing everything he can to keep the gap manageable, and South is doing everything he can to say, I'm done. This needs to end and get that final podium spot. So you love a good fight, and these two are actually fighting, even though they're not right next to each other on the track. You know, every inch right now is going to speak volumes for how this race finishes.
Right, it's all about those inches. They add up, and back here on board with Real Fun for Us. I wanted to monitor these two, especially as they come by and put another lap on the GTE class leader. They've been fighting so furiously that I have wondered whether or not they're entirely safe around the slower class of car. The Butler up the inside here in Sector 1, and Mitch is going to move over, assume his line, as is his right as the slower car. And a nice little lift there from Real Fun to make sure that pass is done cleanly. So all's well here in the final moments of this race, and some of the final cars to be lapping the GTE field through cleanly. It's been a long old race, a long old event, and well, lots of congratulations will be deserved in some 9 minutes time.
Absolutely, you know, and they have been deserved. You know, these guys, they prepped for this for weeks, putting the time in, getting this track down, understanding what combos are going to work, understanding how everything's going to play in, and you want to have a good showing. You want something that puts out the show of what you put in. So, you know, kudos to everybody. Great job. Props to all the winners here and the guys that are on for potential wins and podiums. But, you know, recognizing everybody else, even if you didn't make a podium, you know, great showing. Way to run it out. You know, race for pride and do it the right way. And that is what we've seen. You know, every race is going to have a bump here and there. Every race is going to have a moment where somebody's going to jump up and say, "This was wrong, you did me wrong." Yeah, okay, yeah, we get it, you know, that's fine. But the race as a whole, you know, 24 hours, let's do it. And we did, and right now it's just so much fun to watch it come to the end that I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. And I'm really happy to see what's going on the track. Everybody really just enjoying the race. Maybe not Diablo. He may not be enjoying this one, but everybody else.
Everyone apart from Diablo.
Yeah, maybe not Diablo.
That's right.
He may not be super thrilled to be on the track right now, but he's still making it. So.
He's still making laps. He's still out there.
That's it.
It's always a great pleasure to be involved in this race. And well, here we are back with Drifting Hero, who's still fighting it out with Bradders. These two have been forwards and backwards for hours and hours and hours now. And you know what? It's kind of that thing where if you go and play poker with your friends when you know, I remember doing it when I was a kid, and you'd all put £5 into the pot, and you'd come away after 5 hours and work out what you'd earned. It's like, wow, I've been playing really hard and concentrating for 5 hours, and I've earned 13p. 13 pennies is what I'm going to take away from my efforts. And it feels a little bit like that with these guys. There's so little between them. They've been fighting so hard, and it's still just forwards and backwards every few laps. So small are the gains between them, and it speaks to how close they are on track. You know, how close the cars are, but also how close the drivers are. So great to see.
Yeah, this has been one of the more interesting battles on the track for this stint, at least. Yeah, these two going at it, switching places, taking every opportunity they can. They're putting on a show, and everybody's enjoying watching it.
Right.
So, well, it looks like we got a third car kind of coming up into the mix here. But good grief, way to do it right.
SSR,
you know,
that's SSR Marshmallow, the Porsche, bright blue here, and up the inside of SVR Bradders losing out positions here toward the end of the race. He's going to want to dig deep and just find a little bit more energy, a little bit more fight in him to maybe bring some of that time back, bring some of that energy back into his driving. He can still do this, and with just 6 minutes remaining, Bradders is going to want to find his way back up, hopefully past Marshmallow, who's just got past him, but also past Drifting Hero, up there running in 12th overall right now.
Yeah, it looks like Drifting Hero is he's stretched out some breathing room, and that may not be the best thing for Chatters, but oh my, or Bradders, I'm sorry, Bradders. Especially with Marshmallow now in front of him, this that could spoil his game with the Drifting Hero there, but see, there's still at least a lap and a half, 2 laps left in this, so get around him, right. Fight for it.
Two right. Here we go then, running down towards the Dunlop chicane. Quick right, left, and Marshmallow just about holding on, keeping Bradders behind. This race has seen a whole lot of different people racing for each one of these teams. We've seen driver changes, we've seen pit stops come and go, I suspect we've seen just about all the pit stops take place now. I shouldn't expect to see very many more cars coming in and out of that pit lane here at the Cirque de la Sarthe. Everyone finishing their strategies, and in these last 4 minutes just pushing down toward the finish line, and hopefully enough extra space, enough extra mileage on the clock to see their teams finishing well in the overall standings. It's a blessing that today we've got the leaders of both classes, GTE and LMP1, sitting on the track in their positions as they are on the table. Williams Mitch representing the SVR purple team, and of course Team Elusive being represented in this last round by ESV Scottsin, both of whom have had commanding runs here at Le Mans and lead their packs coming through this last stint, and I suspect will lead their packs all the way toward the end of the race at this point. So nice to see that there's some parity there between the table and between what's happening on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to take your hat off to both those guys. They're really showing what makes them the drivers that they are. Man, what do you say? They took it and ran. That's all you can say. You know, they drove it like they stole it. So it's a testament to the phenomenal driving ability of both those cats. And as of right now, we're pretty much just watching them run to the finish line, and that's all you can say. Thanks for putting on a show, boys. Thanks for putting on a show.
Back on board then with ESV Scottsin as the driver who recently left his happy home, left his team to set up ESV. It's been a long old run. We remember previously Scottsin set up ESV and then I think left ESV and disbanded it, and came back and set it up again just recently. And it's such a young team to be getting such a massive accolade as a win here at the TORA 24 Hours of Le Mans. ESV standing for Team Elusive. You can follow them at that on Twitter. I think that's at Elusive Forza or something like that.
I want to say so.
Really,
yeah.
a great accolade here for a very young team, and that's actually really been the flavour of this Le Mans. Thinking of it, we were saying just the same thing earlier about SVR Solar Vision Racing. And both teams somewhat younger and starting to make names for themselves. Really a changing of the guard perhaps here at Le Mans 24.
Yeah, it's totally possible. I mean, like the great idea behind the fact that they're young teams is that, you know, they have so much experience within the team that they built. So, I mean, here we go. Yeah, we just stopped it all up. There's the all stop. But yeah, with the young team aspect of it, you know, it's bringing a fresh flavor to the Forza community. It's really starting to highlight some different letters up there, but at the same time, you know, we get to see drivers taking on new roles, experienced drivers taking on new roles within these teams, and that's just as exciting.
Well, huge congratulations to Forza Europa, LMR Harmonic and ESV Scottsin, who take the win for Elusive Peugeot Sport PlayStation in the LMP1 division. We can certainly say as well that in the GTE division we have a class winner, and that's represented here by Williams Mitch driving the SVR Purple Aston Martin alongside his teammates SVR Solar, Williams Roadrunner and SVR Martin. Great performances from both of those winning teams, and indeed from everyone who was out here racing at the 24 Hours of Le Mans over the last day or so. Kudos to all of you. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to organize, let alone execute. And so beautifully done by everyone. Further back in the order, we can see a few other drivers out there on track, particularly TLR Law, who did hold on for the second place in class in LMP1. LSEM the Butler will take third this is talking about this final stint, I should add. I'm not clued up enough on the table, I'm afraid, to be able to tell you exactly where these guys finished on the overall leaderboard. You have to check back on the points table for that. Fourth place in class is the real Fun for Us 4, who did not manage, to get past LSCM the Butler. That's a small error on my side. LSCM the Butler in third then in his class. LSCM Pigeon will be behind in fifth in LMP1 with LZR Diablo after a stint that he'll be looking forward to forgetting all about. Gets sixth place in LMP1 and Chum in seventh. We've already mentioned that Mitch managed to bring the thing home, first place in GTE, so hopping straight back to second place in GTE. It's JSR South, second in division. Third is Rise Motorsports Servi, who looks like he possibly brought it back a little bit toward the end there. That gap between South and Servi will be very telling about which of these two teams managed to get higher than the other on the leaderboard. Further back is the Ferrari of Rich 92 F1. I feel like I hardly knew the Ferrari, but a good strong finish, fourth in class here in the final stint. Drifting Hero in fifth in class. Sixth in class is going to be Marshmallow, and we're already in that pack that we were watching so intently. Seventh in class, Bradders with Turismo 83 just behind, one chicane behind. SVR Snyder, 16th overall, with BM Entice shortly behind him, and some way distant of that pack, SSR Outlawed. So there's your finishing order for the 12th stint and the final stint of the 24 Hours of Le Mans for 2019. Once again, a huge congratulations to the SVR Purple crew and also the Elusive Motorsports squad. Some great racing we saw out there over the last 24 hours, and a really impressive event. We're looking at wrapping this old cast up and getting off air, but Hulk, what are your final thoughts coming out of what was a really an amazing event?
Oh man, this was a very enjoyable event. Everybody should be excited for how it was run, how they ran it. There's no bad omens going on here at all. You guys did a great job putting it down on the track for everybody to see. Huge win for Scottson sitting there and his team, the ESV team, as they show exactly what they can do in those high performance classes. And then again, SVR, we've said it, we've talked about it. SVR Williams, you guys did great. That is a huge win for you guys as well. Props to everybody that's going to take podiums, but really for everybody else, you did a great job. You were awesome out there on the track, and it's just use it as fuel for the next one. This has been a great race. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
It's great to have you here, Hulk, and everyone who's watching this and curious about how you can get involved with more endurance racing in the future, head to theonlineracingassociation.com. We shorten that down to TORA here in the Forza community, and TORA put on some of the coolest events in Forza Motorsport, so do head on over there and get signed up, get yourself racing. For now, though, from Le Mans, from myself, Ali Tack, and from AMR the Hulk, it's been a real pleasure having you all along, and wish you a great rest of your Sunday. For now, though, we'll catch you later on down the road.
Take it easy, guys.